Hello world, Mitchellbrine here, and welcome to the first episode of Mitchellbrine's Advanced Modding Tutorial Series. I really don't care about the default file template. Mitchellbrine on 11/23/2014 or 24 for you guys. Putting it up. This is not the default file template. Anyway, so today's episode, the very beginning episode, is going to be about player data. Now, player data, this will go this in two parts maybe, but few will be one part. Then I'll first start off with just regular data you can save that will not be saved on death, and then player persistent data. So yeah, let us begin. Alright, so we're going to be starting off our basics with of course, a mod.event handler. Click void, and let's just go pre-init. Make an FML pre-initialization event. This will be in 1.7.10, just so you know. So if anything changes, which NBT usually doesn't, but if anything does change, just know that's what's happening. So, what we're going to need to do is actually, before we do anything else, let's create a new class where we're going to have our no, I'm going to keep it in here. I lied. I'm mixing up in the spot. So, I'm going to have our, we're going to go to, we don't need to care about events or anything, we're just using this as is, let's press warnings if unused. And so, yeah, let's Minecraft Forge, because that's what we're going to be using, Minecraft Forge. Let's go to it's a Minecraft Forge event bus, and we're going to register this. So what that does, if you don't, you should know, but if you don't, because events might be new to you, what that does is that registers this entire class and searches for anything with the subscribe event by FML. And it finds one of those, it checks, it runs the, basically the event. So, let's call this our player data. And let's import that, of course. And it is our living update event. Or living event dot living update event. So now we have our basic event here. Now, what we're going to need to do is get our player's data. So we're going to make sure it's a player first. So if event.entity_living is an instance of entity player. Oh jeez. Planes. So that's going to check if it's a player when that's taking this event. Yeah. So then we're going to create an entity player equals, we're going to cast to player to living. Now we get to access all the player stuff, entity data, and here's where it comes down to the fun part. Get entity data, we'll get our NBT tags and stuff and all that for our player. And if it is null, which it shouldn't be if you're accessing it, if it is null, it'll create the new NBT tag compound. And this is where we get to have all the fun stuff. So, let's start by just doing a simple thing and boolean has fired. Or checking if we... Let's first check if has fired has not fired yet. Basically. If player dot get entity data dot has key has fired, or if player dot get entity data get does not, or the boolean is false, has fired, then we set boolean, this might be, has fired to true. So I'll be right back. 1 second. Alright, we're back. Just making sure I had the correct folder open. Everything's gonna go and it's gonna run. Do. It still downloads. Create a new world. Create our new world here. Folder lookups applied. Player 203. Welcome to the new world. Nope, don't over the LAN. Unlimited. Right, vsync off. Just game my regular settings, clouds off. There we go. Good as new. So, and now, ignore the client side chunk ticking. Now, since we've actually fired the living event, that might not seem as it. We have fired a living event because we are, in fact, living, and we are a player. So now if we head out, that was odd. Yeah, there's some bugs with Forge, but, you know, what happens, happens. And so now the player data, and now, you see, this is all the NBT of the player. We have if he's invulnerable, he's on the ground, if he's sleeping, he is. These ones are booleans, by the way. They look like integers, but boolean's basically an integer of 0 or 1, so you should know that already. These are shorts, which you have air, attack time, death time, fire. Fire is if you set on fire. Health, hurt time, and sleep timer. And now we have the integers here, which are dimension, food level, food tick timer, which I believe is when you eat food. Player game type, which is game mode. In fact, I could set that to 0 if I wanted. Portal cooldown, that's your cooldown in the portal before you can back. Score, that's determined later. Selected item slot, that can go 0 through 8, I believe, and that'll get you your 1 of 9 slots in there. Your XP level is what level of XP you're at. XP total is the total amount. Fall distance is how far you are falling. Health as a float is what you basically set in there. And XP points is, yeah. So we have our attributes here. These is our generic health, our knockback resistance, our move speed, and our attack damage, which we can all increase if we wanted to. Increase that to 20. But I'm not going to, so. Ender items is your storage, basically. Inventory is what's in your inventory. Motion is, note that this is Y right here. And it's pretty much never 0, so never try to make it 0. Your position in the world, if you want to move your position. Rotation, this is your yaw and pitch. Spawns, I don't know what that is actually. Abilities, flying. This is if you are basically flying is if you are flying. Insta build is usually set to regular. Invulnerable is that. Basically, if you're in creative mode, this all comes fairly good to you. Now comes the part where we get to what I've been doing. This is Forge data right here. And if you notice, we have has fired, which is a boolean, and it's here. So I can also set that to 0 and save. And now it's technically false, so this will fire, because it does exist, but it technically hasn't fired. So here we go. I don't know what kind of buggy version of Forge I'm using. Oh, I can check. 230. Own planes. And the plane's gone. So, you can see we're now in the world, we're doing stuff, we're all good. I'm gonna quit back out. Back to here. And, oh, forgot, it will choose a different player every time. Let me log in as my player to make sure this doesn't happen again. Username Mitchellbrine. Apply, okay. Launch again. So now I'm gonna go back and basically just reload everything up again, change it to 0, and you'll see that both parts of this if statement can apply. It will change it to true if it hasn't fired, if it doesn't exist, or if the has fired is equal to 0. So I'm just gonna load the world, and I can just be there for like less than a second, and it's already fired. That is not my UUID. Well, that's fine. Has fired, change it to 0, and relaunch again. Hopefully it doesn't give me a new UUID. And planes. Planes are landing in weird today. Oh, here we are. We open this, and okay, nothing's changed. Now if we check here, remember we did turn it back to 0, and it is fired again. So yep, that's basically that. We can do booleans, we can integers, bytes, byte arrays, doubles, floats, integer arrays, longs, shorts, strings, tags, whatever you want. Well, most whatever you want. Yeah. That boolean has fired. Too true. This is basically the basics of player data. Save it to the forge thing, to the forge data folder. And yeah. So that's it for the first part. And now for portion number 2. Alright, so I am back, and it's time for persistent player data. So now, persistent player data is like player MBT, except for the slight fact that it does not get reset upon death, which player MBT does. So, what we're going to do is, since we already have the player instance here, we're going to make a new NBT tag compound, and this is the persist tag. Make it equal to null. And if player.getEntityData.has, I believe has key player persisted. Hold on, let me check that. I'm a little bit stupid sometimes. I forgot I can always just go player.persisted NBT tag. If it has that, then we'll set the persist tag to player.data.get compound tag player.persisted tag. And ignore those warnings if you are using IntelliJ. Else, persist tag equals new NBT tag compound, and player.getEntityData.set, or oh, and then getEntityData.set tag. Oops, I always forget about that. Player.persisted tag persist tag. So that's critically important right now. Make sure that the persisting tag does exist. We're going to get some errors. Now we get to the mod tag, which we do in a similar fashion, except it will not be involving the player data, but more using persist tag. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to do NBT tag compound mod tag, or whatever you want to name it, null. And now we check if player get entity data dot has key. Now this is really important. I'm going to name this ADV. Name that whatever you want it to be named, but make sure you name it exactly the same as you name it there, or you're going to get some weird things happening, okay? If it has that, then mod tag equals persist tag get compound tag ADV. Simple, right? Else mod tag equals new MBT tag compound, and alright, so it's mod tag equals new MBT tag compound, and persist tag dot set tag EV, because it needs to be mod tag. So now that we've gotten that done, we can basically use mod tag now. And let's do that. So we're gonna do mod tag, which is basically a new MBT tag compound. So if mod tag dot has fired doesn't have it, or has fired is equals to false, get boolean has fired equal to false, then player.getStData has, or set boolean has fired true. So now we can just launch a world, and let me back to the advanced modding tutorials and oops, saves new world player data. Okay, head to the new world here, and we're almost done. Now if we see here, in forge data we have player persisted and advanced, which doesn't have any entries. So, something went wrong. I will be right back. And you probably already caught that before because everything in my code was correct except for me being stupid. So, go here, and launch, and everything will be set to true. And bada bing, bada boom. Now I'm not going to go fully out of the, because it's all saved. Now unfortunately here we got persisted, has fired. Both of them are set to 0. So now I'm going to go back into the world, and I'm going to kill myself. Okay, do. And slash kill. There we go, so. Title screen. So now that I've done that, if everything went correctly, I should... Okay, so what's happening is that this is working. Trust me on that. This is all working. The reason it's all okay. If let me just make it happen every 10 seconds so I don't have like a make it occur every 10 seconds so I can show you how it persists. If player world object get world time modulo 200 equals 0, just to check that it's every 10 seconds. Do that, and then it will say the error println check complete. Let's get out of there because this is firing correctly. Oh, here. Nope. Just trust me, it is working. So if we do this between the times where it says check complete, okay, and then slash kill, and then go. So now if I go in here, you'll notice one entry. Well, what could that mean? Has fired was deleted. The original has fired. It was deleted. You're probably wondering why has fired was deleted. And that was because this player MBT is not persisted upon death. As you can tell, player persisted persists. Of course, because redundancy is redundant. And, but player MBT like this, you have to be careful when using this kind of player MBT. Just what I'm basically trying to say. Because, while it is good, it does not get set on death. It does not stay on death. This is useful in other things, like, I know in Diseasecraft I use it for heat. I don't use my player persisted, because if they die from, like, excruciating heat, they'll just keep dying over and over and over again. So there is advantages to both sides of whatever you want to do. It's up to you to decide if you want to use player persistent data or player MBT. So that's basically it. I'm going to have to put a good old semicolon on this episode. So yep, that's basically it for this episode of Mitchellbrine's Advanced Modding Tutorial Series. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to give a like if you thought it helped, and if you understood it. If not, and you have any troubles or errors, be sure to just leave me a comment or go to the GemuRev forums, which you can do, because I am a moderator on support. So yep, that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Mitchell, and looks like it's time to break.